Hello, Texylania. I'm Alan Ames, founder of Vingineers. After 15 years building satellites for NASA in the United States, moving to France, building the largest satellite constellation, Iridium Next, I found the perfect application for my skills. Wine. Who loves delicious wine? Yeah, okay. So how come all wine isn't fantastic? So I spent time with some of the finest winemakers in the south of France, in South Africa, to answer that why. What are the challenges of winemakers, wine farming? Grapevine diseases ravage fields every year. Up to 50% of the plants can die from an incursion of a disease in a field. That's an average of €1,000 per hectare per year that can be lost. If you have poor management of your soil, if you have poor irrigation management, if you don't time your harvest right, that can reduce the quality of wine by 20% or more. If you get your harvest estimation wrong, you can end up with empty tanks or fruit rotting on the vine. That's another 15% potential loss. So what do? We need better data and better analysis. NDVI is a technology invented by NASA in the 60s for satellites. It uses infrared imaging. What it does is it allows us to see the vigor of the plants, whether they're healthy or whether they're stressed. Now today, satellite providers, drone providers are providing maps like this to farms all over the world. The challenge is they haven't gotten vineyards right at all. The thing is, vineyards are really different. The thing is, like, normally when you're farming, you want the healthiest plants you can, because you want to produce the most possible. But great wines come from stressed vines. But stressed vines get sick, die. So what do we do about that? What we need is a better analysis of the data. So I built the vine map analysis. Using a vine map analysis, which solves these problems, a farmer knows what's going on. He can go in the field and know where the stress points are, know where the healthy vines are, know where to look for diseases. He uses this data to make decisions on how to treat the field. My current clients basically say that it's fantastic. That's where they are. The challenge is there's just me, and there are lots of wineries. So last season, I trained a team of drone pilots in South Africa to take the data. They provided the imagery, I provided the reports. That validates the fact that we can scale up using local drone teams with vineyards all over the world. So how do I go global? I'm building a platform that takes the analysis, puts it in the cloud. I'm bringing drone teams in to evangelize the product in new markets. I'm working with large, prestigious wineries to have their own drones. I'm creating a community of precision viticulture around the product. Our proprietary image processing software gets to disease detection 20 times better than anything else on the market. We're building a mobile application for managing the vineyard and going and taking data in the fields, and then tying those two pieces together with an AI framework. We target the wineries that are focusing on quality first. There are some wineries today that will spend over €2,000 to send people into the field and do viral tests on every single plant. €2,000 per hectare. Vingineers will do this at a fraction of the cost. Our clients are already happy with what we're delivering today, just digital reports. They have better sampling data, they have better knowledge about the fields, and they have better wine. This stuff's proven. Which takes me to why I'm here. I need to build a team that can execute this vision on a global scale. I need developers, I need marketing, and I need sales. And most of all, I need you, advisory and funding, to help me navigate scaling up and building an excellent team. Vingineers is revolutionizing vineyard management. So let's make wine better together.
Thank you. Do we have a drone demo coming up?
No. What I'm going to show for a demo, because what I hope to show as a demo is Google Earth. And Google Earth needs the internet. Okay. So we're going to go to Vingineers, which is one of the most renowned wineries in South Africa. So what we've got here, for example, is this field. All two. Now, Dwayne, who's the viticulturist that runs this winery, normally they would have harvested this entire field together. What we have is a big spot that's quite stressed, big, vigorous spot. Now what they can do is they can come in this stress spot, where it's actually reasonably healthy, but stressed more than the rest of the field. They do barrel fermentation and create some of the finest wines that they produce. Then they come in later, because the more vigorous plants get ripe later, and then they go and they harvest that separately to make the rest of the wine. We can go to France. My third one's going to be hard. This is a domain called Domaine de Saint-Jacques d'Albas. They use the sampling locations to do soil measurements that allow them to improve the quality of their wines. Now finally, last week we came out to the largest single owner winery in Europe, Jetby. Thank you. And we did a little demo with them, 2,500 hectares. And they actually have some really nice fields, very beautiful. And we're going to be I'm going to be delivering a report to them tomorrow to show them what we did. Questions?
Yes.
So very intriguing. Are you doing this just you on your own right now?
Yeah, it started as kind of like a research project when I was doing consulting for satellites. And then I was working with a friend of mine who was a winery in the south of France. And then I just started working on the technology and got into it. And I said, I'm going to work on this and then build a business out of it. But I'm an engineer on Focus. And really, after I said, okay, now I've got something that's useful, an MVP basically, I said, okay, now I need to learn about business and start developing it. And that was about a year ago, and I've been very focused on just making sure that I understand what actually is useful to the clients.
And who would be your next hires for this 200K?
The most important thing to do now is to do a platform that can first display the maps online, and then be able to take the maps with the processing we have now, put them online, and then to build that whole processing network, put that online, so that a drone pilot in Argentina who says, okay, Vingineers, this is great, we hear it's great, so I'm on Twitter, I'm going to fly some vineyards, I'm going to take that, upload it, and then boom, we've got the product in front of the customer.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. You talked about this 15 plus 20% loss, so this 12 billion annually. So I'm wondering, like, using your software, how much of that can you recover? Like, let's say, minus cost of fermentation, minus cost of your software.
Sure. So an example would be at Fairfield, they spend about 2,000 euros per hectare every year to do that manual checking, right? Well, we build a model that can do that same detection with the same effort, and we can do it for the same effort that we're doing already. So that basically means that what they do is they actually go and they'll take those plants that are infected out, right? And that just, you're saving hundreds of hours of work and thousands of euros. So that slows down the increase, they're actually the only disease-free or leaf roll-free vineyard in South Africa.
Yeah, so basically your solution compares more to the existing solution of this manual labor, which is like obviously inefficient, not really the lost opportunity, because like they are already doing stuff to kind of prevent that. It's just very inefficient. So that's kind of where you need to compare the product.
Right. So there's different pieces. So in terms of separating the harvest, what happens is actually if you go into that field, which you normally harvested all of it, and you now say, okay, now I'm realizing that I have this really good stuff here, and I'm going to split, I'm going to harvest that separately, that can increase the value of that wine by 20% like this, right? And that is, you're going from a 10-euro bottle to a 20-euro bottle, 5,000 bottles for one field, and that's half a hectare, right? So that's the kind of thing you can see in that environment. In terms of the last piece, which is the harvest estimation, you lose 15%, that's kind of an average. What we're seeing is that our estimation is basically able to make the estimation about 50% better than the traditional ways they're doing. And that way, you're basically, that 15% is going to go to 7.5% loss. That's our target.
All right, thanks.
Do you have revenues right now?
I've worked with 5 wineries, 1 in France last season. I changed my model a little bit. I worked in South Africa. I worked with 5 wineries in South Africa. About 10,000 euros I've made. That's about where I am.
Just one question on the algorithm, on the way you analyze things. You are agnostics, you don't care if it's Champagne, Burgundy, Bordeaux, white, red. How you know your basis
Okay.
to have a comparison?
All of that stuff is stuff that has to be, you have to work on that stuff.
So you need to prepare.
You have to pull that stuff in, and you have to process this stuff. So right now, I've got about 2,000 hectares of scanned wineries that I did all by myself.
Okay. So that means every time you're gonna open a country, you're gonna breed the database before, because that was like.
If it's very different, yes. So Champagne's an interesting example because they have very tight rows.
Yeah.
And so that might
Lower,
require some
yeah.
changing and modifications and some new learning in all the modeling and stuff like that.
So back to the open platform, you're gonna need to build the libraries before, otherwise
Yeah.
you don't know your basis for comparison.
So basically, you get a lot of similar pieces and then some outliers. So those outliers, we may have to go and say, all right, you've got new stuff that doesn't meet our standards right now. We're going to have to do a little bit of work on the back end and give you results later. But basically what we've got right now in terms of regular vines, there are about 6 different types of trellising methods, right? And then there are bush vines, and then there's a new type of vines that they wrap around a pole. All that stuff we've got some imagery of, and I'm building modeling right now on that. But that's one of the reasons why I need more developers to help to actually build some of those new models and then be able to deploy that.
Yeah, because your library is gonna be the key for the analysis.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the biggest things that creates the most value in the long run is you take this data from the drones, you take the data from the application that says, hey, I found this disease here, and you continue to iterate on that, and then you say, okay, we saw this disease here, you should go look here in the field. I saw it, I didn't see it. And then you use that and you train your models, and that becomes an entire set of proprietary models that improve over time and become IP that nobody
Yeah.
can copy.
Just a piece of advice, don't underestimate the amount of work to build the library and invest in
Absolutely.
things like this to do oil and gas and infrastructure. It's a ton.
Been doing it for 2 years. I agree.
Hey, thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Cheers.